Hello, in this session we're going to be colouring in this rose from the Ink Lily stamp set, and what I will be using for the marker pens is the Ink Lily brush nib marker pens too. And what I want to do here before we get going is I want to show you the pen numbers that I'm going to be using. Although I'm using the Ink Lily pens, you can use any pen color that works for you. So you can color your rose in a different color. You can use different types of brush nib pens that you have that you like using. I'm just using these because these are the ones that I've got at home. And you can see that I've got here 4 colors. I've got the 4 and the 3, which is going to form the base and the shadows. So the 4 is going to be what I call a marker for you to know where you're colouring in, and then the 3 is going to start that where do you want the shading to be. So the next 2 here, the 5 and the 2, 4, 1 are, these 2 are what I'm going to be using as creating the depth. So if we look at this quite quickly, you can see that around here there are some depth, there's some depth of colour in there, and the reason why we're doing it with these 2 colours is that we can give it that subtle movement. So if I bring it here, so we'll be putting down the 2, 4, 1 R first, and then we'll be using the 5 to bring the colour out and make the 2, 4, 1 R a bit more subtle. So let's get going. I'm just going to put the pen numbers in front of me so I can see. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start from the middle. Let me just move this more into the middle here. There we go. We're going to be starting from here and working our way out. You can work your way into the middle. It doesn't matter, you can start left or right, it doesn't matter. But for this session, what I want to do is to start in from the middle. So the thing that I tend to do is that I would look for where I want to start, which I've said is the middle, and then before I get colouring in, I'm looking for where the overlaps are, so I can see that this is inside here, it's overlapped by here, just having a quick look all the way around so that I can see that this is under here and there's bits around here. I'm just getting a feel for the rose, what I'm colouring in, just so that I can see where the bits are, so I can, like, there's shades and curves and things like that. And also it can tell you where you want to start. You may want to start somewhere else and then come to do that bit. You can move around and do which colour you like. And the other thing, which I forgot to mention, is that we're going to be doing this all in real time so that you can colour along with me. So let's get going. So the other thing that I've done, one more, is that I've kept the 2 colours. So if I bring this back in, so I've kept them in this group. So I've got the 4 and the 3 to my left, and I've kept the 5 and the 2, 4, 1 on my right, and that's just so that it helps to separate them. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start with the 4, and we're going to start from the middle and outwards. So I'm just going to start by just gently going round, and the thing to think about as well is your pressure. So the way to work this out is that as you are laying the nib down, can you see I'm just gently doing so? And then once you see that there is colour coming out, that is the pressure. Everybody's got their own personal pressure. And the good thing about brush nibs as well, you don't need to press down heavily anyway, because it will sort of use too much ink. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do around here up to around to about here, just so that you know where I'm going to. So just to show you, I'm going to go around here, and down here. Let's start off there first. So I'm just going to go around, and you can see I'm just doing small little movements. And if you have, let me see if I can get, let me just use this one. Sometimes when you come into the edge, we'll have a look when we're doing the other side. But, oh, excuse me. But when we get to the edges here, you can use a piece of card so that you can see I'm slightly colouring the card. But what it will do is that it will help me not go over. I haven't done it properly there because I just thought of it now. But when you're going around the edges, which we'll look again once we get there, that's another little tip that I like using. Let me put this back. Here we go. So as I said, I'm going to work my way around here. And remember, don't rush. We're going to be colouring in this rose together. And depending on how long it takes, I think I may need to do it in 2 parts. But it won't, as far as you will see, it will just go from one to the other. There will be no jumps. It's just clicking on the part 1 and the part 2. So as I said, I'm going to keep going around here. Alright, and I'm going to stop there. That was number 4. I'm going to pick up number 3 now. And as I said before, the number 3 is going to be used for where I feel I want the shading to be. So I'm looking at it and I feel like around here. I'm just going to brush around here as well, around there, and possibly in here. And the other thing I'm looking at is, as we did in the beginning, are where there is an overlap. So I'm just going to do that little by little. So I'm looking at this bit here. I want it to be under here, because I can see that this is part of the petal falling backwards, if you like. So what I'm going to do is to start that process of showing that I want it to be deeper and around here as well. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just looking at shadow rather than the light source and where it needs to come from. That's too stressful. Colouring is supposed to be for fun, right? And also the other thing is I'm not going to worry about the drying time. We're going to be using that to our advantage as well as we're going along. Okay, and I'm going to go here because I can see 2 places. I can see that this part of the petal is folding over, and I can see the other part of the petal is going in, and I can see here we'll have a shadow because, or in the shade because of where it is here. So I'm going to start off with around here. You see, all I'm doing is a brush, just brushing it like this. And the other thing you can do is to just flick down. And as you can see, I've changed. I decided to go around like this, but then I thought, you know what, I'm going to pull it down a bit more. And that's the sort of thing that you will think about whilst you're doing it. And also feel free to turn your image around, your flower around. I'm only trying to keep it like this so that I'm not turning it round and round and round, because I know for myself that can get quite not annoying, but I can start to feel quite dizzy. So I'm going to go back here, and as I said, down here I feel it's going to be more in the shade, and then I feel that here, so I'm going to do the flick, and the flick is put the nib down and gently pull it out. So take your time and don't worry about any gaps. You can always go back and put it in. So I'm purposely going to leave that gap and come here, and then I'm going to go into here and just put in, fill in the gaps. And then I'm going to go around here, because again I can see that this is underneath here. Okay. Around like this, and again here I'm just going to flick out like this. And what we're going to be doing as well is that we're going to do most of the flower, possibly all the flower, before we go in and put in the dark areas, because I find once you've looked at it, you might feel that actually I want some depth here, might want some depth over there. And this is what I'm saying about I'm not going to rush because of thinking about the drying time of the pen on the paper. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to use it to my advantage instead. So I'm going to turn over again, or change pens, and go in and put number 4 down. So I'm going to go from around here, and how far? Let's do here, but you can see that I'm only still doing parts at a time. So I'm going to go around here, all the way around here. Just a moment. Pull up my sleeves are rolling down. So I'm going to go in again with number 4. Oops, don't want to move it too much. Here we go. And I'm going to keep going around. I'm going to do the next part, which is I'm going to do here, I'm going to do around here, and I think I'm going to do all the way around this area here, and then we'll stop at that point, and then we'll go again. So I'm going to colour in this part of the petal, and you can see I'm stroking it, and you can also do circles. And the other thing I forgot to mention is how far I'm actually holding the pen down. I'm finding it quite I find it better to hold it further down, because I feel like I've got more control rather than up here, or hold it like I would a normal pen. So I suggest trying it like this, so that you have real control over how you're putting the colour down. So let's have a look. So I'm also going to show that I'm doing between the two, I'm doing a few strokes and I'm doing some circles, again just showing you that there is your way of colouring in. You know, this is not about, oh, you must do this technique. I'm sure we've all got different ways of doing things and our way of, you know, just colouring in, or the way that you think in terms of your techniques. It'd be wonderful to share those. Let's see, I'm just going to go around here. It'd be wonderful to share those because we've all got something to learn. I'm sure I'll find out new things from yourselves. I always say anybody who says that they know everything, question them. So again, just to remind you, I'm going to go around here and I'm going to go around here. So I'm just going to keep going, and don't rush. Just going to keep going until we finished all the rows together. Okay, and I'm going to go around here, and I hope you can see in yours, because remember, you have a look at your one and how you see it, and picking how you want to think about where you want to mark the shading. And I hope that you can start to see where the pen is, the ink is starting to dry, that you're starting to see where the dark and the light bits are. Okay, again, I've stopped there. I'm going to pick up my 3 and I'm going to check where I want the shadings to be. So I'm looking over here and I want this petal to be behind, so I'm just going to start with my 3 and I'm going to start flicking just a little bit on this, but here, just all the way onto the line, so that it does really give that depth. And the good thing about doing it this way as well, you may find that you don't want all of it to be so deep in colour, you know, so dark in the shade. So by doing it this way, you can make the decision. Okay, and I'm going to go again. I'm going to go around here. I'm just looking. I think I can see that this petal is over the top of here. So I'm going to just do that bit first. Yeah, because we've got that bit underneath here. And I'm going to go here, and I can see that this petal here is sort of tucked in, if you like, there. And I'm going to go up and around. And this is the same sort of thing that you would think of when you're colouring in any flower or any rose. You know, have a look at what's in front of you. Do the same thing, have a look. So I'm going to see that this is behind all of this, so I'm going to colour but just in here, so the shade. Okay, I'm going to go around. Here there isn't enough space to have the light part and the dark part, so I'm just going to go across it like so, and then I'm going to go up again here, and I've still got to look at here, so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to look at this area here. So I want this petal to be under here, so I'm just going to, you can see I'm just doing little strokes just to start that spot. Just keep stopping to have a look, and I can see that I haven't put in any shade in here, so I want to put a little And you can see I'm stopping each time and having a look just to make sure if I've got the shading in the places where I want. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing around here. Okay, and again this part is folding over, so to show that I'm going to show that the shade is under here. Because you can also think of it as the shadow as well. That's another way of thinking about it. And now I'm looking at here, so I'm going to again do some flicks around here. I've still got the pen number 3 and that fold just as we did here. I'm going to just do some flicks like this. Okay, I'm going to pick up the 4, and you see what I'm doing is I'm not blending it as much. I'm just going in and picking the colors and going around it to begin with. So what that means is that I can go back in. So for example here I can, if I want to, if I feel I want to make that less to make it more subtle, so all I'm doing is going right to the end. So if I show you here, I'm going to the end of where the color of the number 3 color finishes, and I'm just using the edge of my nib and I'm flicking it out like so, and you can already see that it's starting to look a bit more subtle. Okay, so we're going to go in again, number 4, and now I'm going to go even further around. Now I'm going to start off with around here first. Okay, so I'm going to be colouring, just so that you know, I'm going to be colouring here, and I'm going to be colouring down here as well. I'm going to start around here first. See, even if you can see that although this is all one red colour, I could have easily gone over like this and then colour it in. I find it's more controlled, is the only way that I can explain it as. And also you can take advantage of when it is slightly a bit more wet for the blending as we're going along. And we're not rushing, as I said, I'm not going to worry about it if it does dry. We're just going to carry on over it. It going slightly darker in shade is not the end of the world. Can you see I'm using different types of brush strokes, but still very small. And go around here as well. Okay, and I'm going to do around here. So you can see I'm going to be colouring all this petal as well, and under here. You see what I'm doing is I'm stroking as well. The other thing to think about when you're doing this stroke is to think about the letters C or the moon, if you like, as a C. Because then what I'm doing is, if I show you down here, I'm starting from out here and going a little way and in. It's more to do with the way that you're laying down the pen colour rather than seeing a C. And every time you do colour, put the pen down, remember to just check, bring your pen down like this, and as soon as you see the colour, that's your personal pressure. I'm going to keep going around here. Okay, I'm going to keep going all the way down to here and then colour into that part. Because what I love about these sessions that we're doing is that you can colour along with me. So hopefully you feel that we are sitting here colouring together, because I am always going to take my time so that you can, and you don't feel rushed because I've rushed on. Okay, I'm going to keep, and I'm still going to think about where I'm colouring in, so I'm going to stop around here. I'm not going to colour into that bit yet. And remember, you can turn your image, your rose, on the side, upside down, however you find it comfortable to colour in a section. Remember, I'm just holding it like this so that I'm not spinning it around, so I know it can become distracting, and as I said earlier, I start feeling quite dizzy. Okay, so this is number 4 we was just using. I'm now going to pick up the 3 and start looking at where I want the shades to be with the shadow. So I can see that this part is here, which is under here and under there. So let's start off with that one. See, all I'm doing is tiny little flicks, and I'm using the edge of the brush nib. Okay, and again I can see that this is over quite far, so there will be more shading. And as I'm looking at it, I feel that there will be enough shading that I don't need to worry about showing the number 4 underneath, so that it really looks that it's deep inside and under the rose there. So here I can see that there is a fold. I'm just going to go in there so that you can see that there's the fold, and it's actually the bit here along here is deep inside, so you can really see that there's a fold there. And the other thing I'm going to do now is, let's go along here and down. So here again, this part is under here, and up here has got the shadow of the part of the petal that's going over. So again, I'm just going to go down the side. See, I'm just flicking and I'm going to go around here. Okay, I'm just going to go over that bit again. Let's see, I'm just flicking like this, and I'm going to go round like this, because what I want to do is to show that this image is not flat. Okay, it's going to show a bit of depth by the way that we use the shadow. So again, I'm just looking under there, I'm just reminding myself that this part is under, so I am just doing little strokes just to begin with. I tend to do that as well as a marker, just so that I can see where, like I do with the base color, where I want to color and where I think I want things to be. So again, I've got the 3 in my hand, and I'm just going to curve that bit inwards, because already I can see that here is underneath or behind this petal. Okay, so now I am looking at this and I want to pick up my 4 and I want to just gently bring it in. So again, I'm using the edge of the nib to the edge of where I can see the 3 finishing, and I'm just pulling it out to start off with. Yeah, I'm going to go all the way around, just pulling those edges in. You can see I'm stopping each time just to have a quick look. Okay, and the other thing I'm looking at, I'm just going to pick up my 3 and I'm looking at these markings, and I'm thinking I want to bring them out a bit, but to bring them out so that it's a gentle sort of pull out, if you like. So I'm just going to go over it with the 3, and you can see very lightly as well, so that it's just creating its own shadow over it. I hope you can see that. And have a look, and you see I'm looking at all the lines, and I'm just going over it with the 3, so again that it's subtle. Okay, so you can go around and do that on some. You can see I'm just having a quick look for any of the lines. We're going to come back to these because I want to show how we can make the petal look round as well, or has a bend. I know what's she saying? Hopefully it will come together when I do it. So around here again, I can see that this is the part of the petal that is folding over, so I want to make underneath here dark, so it's creating a bit of a shadow. You see I'm sort of turning my pen like this. Again, you can turn it upside down, and you can do flicks up or flicks down. Again, it's up to you. I'm just going to flick down a bit, and this is a number 3 I've still got in my hand. You can see every time I'm doing a few, I'm stopping and I'm having a look. Okay, so now I've gone right down to here, and now I need to think about changing the direction of my movement. So I've come all the way down here, and what I want to do is to show that this bit is underneath here, but keeping in mind the direction of my stroke. So the more we get larger, the more we have to think about the direction. So I'm going to think about from here, I'm going to start the shadow and come all the way up here. I find it easier that I'm going to start on this side so that I can join it. So I'm just going to start from here and flick upwards, just making sure that I've gone right to the edge. And as you can see, all I've done is I've used my pen, and I'm still using the number 3, and I'm just gently flicking upwards, like so. And again round the side. What I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do that C movement. So I'm going to start from here and do the flicks like this. And as you can see, I'm not, because of the colour, it's so close. So that's the other thing, is when you're picking your personal colours, is to think about the blending, that they are not too far apart. If I bring this back in, you can see that actually they're quite close in colour, okay, but not too intense like these two are. But you can still see that there is, as you can see as I'm doing this, you can still recognize that there are two shadings here. And I'm going to do the same thing here that we did over there by picking up my 4 and just blending the edge. So remember, it's from the edge of where we put the 3 down and flicking inwards just to soften those edges, and also still be mindful of the direction that you're doing this in. See, I'm flicking downwards. I'm still keeping in mind that I want this to be round. Okay, so I've still got the 4 in my hand. Actually, let's do this bit first. So I'm going to pick up my 3, and what I want to do is to show that these are actually folding over, and that the light is higher on this side, so you can really visualize the fold back. So what I mean is that I'm looking at here, and to give me that look, I'm going to put the color 3 just on the edge, so very little, like so. I'm just going to go around to here, have a look, and I want to go around here. I'm going to stop and have a look. I hope in your one you can start to see this happening now, that this part looks more raised now, and here looks like it's falling back more because of the number 3, the slight shading that we've put there. So I'm going to go all the way down here. Again, can you see I'm only doing the slightest little flick, like so, and I'm still stopping and having the look. And just be mindful of, in this case as we're doing it here, to not leave any gaps along the line. And here you can see that it's going over a bit. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to let it go. Alright, and then I'm going to do the same here. So remember, you can turn yours onto the side if that works for you. And I'm just flicking along, and here I'm just going to do that bit and leave it. And I want to do the same there, so I'm going to just flick. I'm just holding my pen like this so that you can see. I'm conscious that you might not be able to see that bit if I go like this. So again, just having a quick look around where else, possibly this one maybe, but just a little bit on the top there. Alright, so now I'm going to go in now with my 4, and I'm just going to look at areas where I feel I might want to soften. I think maybe here. So have a look at yours and see if there's any place you want to soften a bit. And remember, it's right where the last pen finishes and upwards. If you want to bring it back a bit more because you feel that you might have used too much, well, made the shade deeper than you want, then just use excuse me, just use the edge of the pen, so in my case it's number 4, and I can keep going over it to bring it back a bit. This is what you'll see when we start to use the dark colours to create the dark shades, how we put down the darker shade and use the lighter red to calm it down. Alright, so now I've got the 4 in my hand still, and now I need to think about where I want to go next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this area here, because what I've noticed when I was doing the demo is that this part here, I found it not clear where it finishes and where it sort of ends. Oh dear. Excuse me. Typical, isn't it? Got a little frog that won't leave me alone. So I'm just going to go around to here, and I can see, remember I've still got my 4 in my hand, and I can see here is where it stops. So it curls in and it stops here. So I'm going to just I'm going to colour in all of here. I'm just marking it so that you can see. I'm going to colour in this petal here. So again, I've got the number 4. And the good thing about doing it this way as well is that it is when it starts to dry, you really have a good idea of where you want the shading or the depth to be, just as we did there. We used the to advantage it drying so you can have a really good look. And as you can see, I'm still being mindful of going around those edges, because if I'm not careful, the same thing will happen that I was saying up here, is that if you go over it, especially in our case with the lighter colour, you really will be moving the darker shade, the shadow, out. If it happens, no big deal, just go in and over it. Yes, I have a good look at what's in front of you. It's not about copying mine exactly. It's about colouring in and doing a few bits together. Right, I'm going to keep going. Remember, I'm going to do this bit here. No, yes, don't forget to breathe. It's so easy, right? Just to keep going and go, oh yeah, breathe. Again, at this point, do turn your flower around. See, I'm doing some flicks. And also, I am still being mindful of the direction. So I am thinking that the petal is going over. So I am being mindful of where, if I am doing these flicks, that I'm doing it in that direction. And you can, if you want to, do this. Oh, I can see a few dots in there. Let's go in. Oh dear. Okay, I'm just going around here. And I'm colouring in all of this bit in here now. So I'm going to pick up my 3 and I'm going to look at where I want the shadows to be. So I'm looking at the movement of the petal, so I can see here that this is behind there, and again here this is going to be behind, and this is on top. So let's just have a look at that. I'm going to start from up here because I know that this bit of the petal is under these bits here. So let's start here. I'm putting my pen nib down and I'm just slightly flicking it out. And remember always to check your pressure, because you don't want to put it down too heavily because then you're just wasting ink. See, I'm going to go all the way down to here. And also what I'm going to look at is, as I was saying, this is quite inwards and folding over. So I'm just going to go in again. Not going to do this bit yet because I'm not sure how I want it to be curved, so I'm going to leave that for now. Okay, and with my free still, I'm going to go in and have a look now at where the petal is just folding over, just as we did here. I'm now going to go around the edges just all the way down to the bottom. And you'll notice as I'm going around, you're hearing the way that I'm thinking out loud. Because as you go along, you look at something and you rethink. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm just colouring along with you. Even though I've done the demo, this is not exactly how I did the demo. My thought process, yes. But it never is the same. It never will be the same unless you photocopy it or you're a colouring genius. So you can see I'm seeing here underneath. I always say flowers and all these sort of things. I'm going to go all the way back up here a little bit. Are natural. Yeah, so I'm just checking both sides. Alright, so I want these edges to be softer where the 3 finishes. So I'm picking up my 4. Remember, I'm not going to go over the top. I just want the edges to smoothen out. So I'm just going to flick just gently. Just pull those edges out. Yeah, and I'm going to do the same along here because I can see that it's quite harsh. You can see it is softening out, so the number 4 going over the edges, not on top of it, because we still want to keep that look. Yeah, you can always go back in like this, have a little look. You can see that it's starting to soften. Because the light part of these, when we leave it, it is showing the height of an area. So here it's fold over, and we know that up here is going to be the lighter shade. Okay, so I've still got the 4 in my hand, and I'm now going to look at this. Or shall we? No, let's go up here first and then we'll come back down. So I'm going to be colouring in this part here with number 4. Let's start here first and have a look. I'm just going to go around. all the way around to here. As I say, you can use it in any direction. I just so happen to be going in this direction. You may find it easier or thought process to go the opposite way, or you can swap and change. You know, the only way is the way that you feel more comfortable with. So I'm going to go around the edge, and again this is another example where around the edge here you can hold on to any sort of scrap and just put it along here. So if I go here, and you can still do the same thing, go around again. Ooh, there we go. And around here, I know that we're not worried about that part, but I just wanted to show you again that I'm bringing it across here, and I'm still doing the same motion, same soft motion, like this, and there we go. And remember, the other way as well is to do the C. So just from up, around, and in. That's the other way. Or you can just put your finger there, it's up to you. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with the 3 straight away, and I'm going to go around the edges here because I want it to be underneath here, because that's what I can see, and then I'm going to show that this part is also going over. So I am going to start on this side with my number 3, and I'm just going to gently go around. And again, I'm just going to put in the dark bit there because it's so small, it's more likely to be all the way in the shade. And going round. Alright, and as I was saying, I want this area to be folded over, so gently bringing it, because that's the other way. You can do the edges as if you're putting the pen under something, so just doing it like this. So I'm just bringing it to the edge and pulling it out. So I want to do the same all the way around. All the way down to here. And I'm going to pick up my 4. And I'm just going to do the same thing, and this is a different way of doing it rather than just pulling it. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to pull up and pull down like so, and this is with the number 4, because by pushing it like this I am moving the colour away from the center where I want it to be lighter. And I want to put a little bit more in there with my number 3, just around here. Yeah? And you do the same, just have a little look at what's in front of you. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same now, I'm going to think of where I want to go next. I'm going to do, yeah, let's do this one next. So I'm going to go around here, in here, and stop around there, just so that you know where we're going. So just going to do this and take a little look as I'm going around. Again, see, that's the other way. Is all I'm doing is I'm stroking, and you'll see, you'll change it as you've seen me do here tonight, or whenever you're looking. You're watching this. Is that I am changing it around. You see, I'm stroking as well, and always being mindful of the direction. So, because I know the petal is going in this direction. So you got a choice. You can either just do little movements like this, if you want, or follow it down. The reason why is that I have noticed if you do it like this, in my experience, it seems to still feel like it's doing that. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just in my mind. I know it's not. But I like doing it this way, because also when we do other things together, and all the other colourings we'll do together, it will matter about the strokes and the direction, especially with hair. We'll do some stuff together with hair. You can see I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going to the edge, even though we've already coloured it in. I'm being very mindful of not going over it, because I don't want to change the depth. Okay, I'm now going to do circles myself. Combination. You see, I'm just doing a combination as well. Doesn't matter. You do what works for you. I'm now going to pick up the number 3, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go around the edges and show that where the shadow and the shade and the movement's going to be. And I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start around this part here first, and then see how much I want the other part to fold over. So let's start up here. Again, I'm doing it very little at a time, stopping and having a look. So each time I'm stopping and having a quick look. Always be mindful, even when going over the top like this, of your pressure, because you can still waste ink here. So you see, I'm just still doing that movement, and I can see that this part is over there and this is all over this area here. So I'm just going to colour in all of that here, so that it all looks, so that this really looks like it's underneath. And I'm going to do the same around here, all the way around. And also just check that you're going right to the edge, so you're really giving that depth and shadow. And again, if you've missed a spot, just go in and, like here, just go in and fill in the gap. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look around this side here, the thing to bear in mind as well, the more you go up, the more you change the shape in which that it's going to go up and fold. So if you do a little bit, it shows more. If you bring it all the way up, then it shows just a slight little bend. So it's up to you how you want it to look. So I'm going to start off by just doing a little one. And here I'm just going to let the colours come together. Life's too short. Yep, so I'm going to go around the edges first, a very small amount, because then it gives me a chance to change my mind, bring it up more. And also, if you go over the edges, just let it dry, and then you can add some color shading around the outside. We'll have a look when we get there, see if I can find one just to show you what I mean. Alright, so I'm picking up, that was all with the number 3. I'm going to pick up the number 4 first, and I'm going to see how this looks once I've softened the edges. So again, same as before, I'm going to the very tip of where the number 3, the shadow I've created is, and I'm just going to pull that in slightly and do the same on the other side at the same time. Keep stopping and having a look. And you may find that you have to do it more than once just to get that softened look. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm looking at it now, and what's the first thing that's come into my mind is that I would like it even more softer here. So what we're going to do is do a pickup. I've got my number 3 here, and I'm going to be picking up with the 4. I prefer to do it that way around, with the picking up the darker color with my lighter color. So what I'm going to do is nib to nib, and I'm going to try and keep the pen on one side, and I actually have my hand relaxing on the table like so, just to keep it all steady for me. So I move that to the side. So what I'm doing is I'm picking up the color, just nib to nib like this, just a little amount, and I'm going to start again from the edge of where the 3 is laid down, and I'm going to just soften those areas that I want to. So I'm looking at here, I want it softer. Else there's fine. I'll do around here. So you can see I'm only just picking areas. Okay, I think this is good for now. Yep. Alright, so now I've got the 4 in my hand, and I'm going to look again of where we want to go. So I'm going to go around this area first. So again, just to let you know, I'm colouring in this petal right here. So with the number 4, I'm going to add in the base. And also, as I said, I love doing it this way with the lightest colour, because it focuses my attention of where I'm colouring in. Okay, just doing the flick. You see, I'm doing a flick, and I'm seeing some places like there's a gap, so I'm just gently tapping the edge of the nib into that area. And go around here. Usually I would turn my my flower by now, especially in this area, but I'm going to try my best to do it this way, so it's not moving around too much for you to follow. Okay, up to there. So I might use a bit of the little swirls. Like so. Now I'm going to pick up the 3 and have a look again at where I want the shading to be. So all of this area I can see is under all of this. So again, I'm just going to go in around here and around here. You see, I'm going to the edge and I'm just pulling the pen colour out a bit. Okay, and you can see I'm trying as much as possible to keep the strokes at the same length or height. Yeah, and I'm going to go all the way up here. Like so. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to be looking at where I actually want it to be folding over. Remember, it doesn't have to be all the way across, and also you might put more in one place than another. So for example, I'm going to keep going from here around. You can see now what I'm doing is I'm stopping and just putting a few dots like so, and I'm going to go around doing the same, but this time I'm going to flick up a bit all the way around to here, and I can already see that I want here to look more folded over. So again, I'm following these lines and I'm going to bring it up to these lines. And I'm going to go around. See, I've immediately gone down to the small. And remember, you could just have a look as you're going along, and even after you finish this little bit, as we've been doing with the other petals, just stop and have a look. Yeah, just check your own. But just get it to how you like it, that's the main thing. Okay, so I feel bring that up a little bit so you can see what I've done is I've kept here small. I bring this up a little bit and I built that up a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with my number 4, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to go in and pull it out a bit. And the reason why I'm doing it this way as well, a lot different to here, or over there rather, is that the petals are larger. So I really want to get in there and set the tone for each petal that I put underneath. So I'm paying attention to every single petal, especially the larger ones. You see, I'm just going to the edge and I'm pulling out with my number 4. I hope you're now starting to see your rows coming together in front of you. Let's see, just having a look, doing some pulling here. Have a look. And also, when it's like this, when you see sort of the shadings like this or over here, it's showing those, well, what I like is seeing the lines that flowers can create, the natural lines. Okay, I'm going to go in now with the number 4, and I'm looking at doing, let's start off with this one on top. So I'm going to do here, along here, and I'm going to finish up around here. Just letting you see what I'm colouring in. So I'm colouring all this part of the petal, the rose. I'm just going to go around the edges. All the way down here, and then go back in. And I'm already starting to look at the rose and how it's working out. I can see that this is deep and this is going to come all the way up. I find myself thinking that this may be a lot more lighter than how I've done the others, but that's what I'm thinking at the moment. But I'm going to keep going. So you can see as you're going along, you've had the look. Remember, we had a look around in the beginning, and now what we've been doing is looking at each petal and seeing how it fits into the picture. And don't forget to breathe. Okay. I'll go around here as well. And also, please give me some feedback on, if you can see, if it's too far, if you want me to come closer. Because I just sit here and have fun and forget that I'm recording and other people's got to watch this. Even though I'm nattering away. Okay, so I'm just going in as well. fill in any gaps. Remember, I'm only going to this part here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up the 3 now, and just as we've been doing the other parts, I'm going to think about how I want the shading to be. So here I want it to look that it's coming up and then around. So first I've got to make sure that down here looks deep. So this is the number 3, and I'm just going in and making sure that you go right to the edge. And as I'm going through as well, I am thinking about where I feel at this moment I probably want to go in with the darker shade. So what I mean is I'm already thinking about down here, possibly needs to be darker around here. So it's just a thought at the moment. And here I'm not going to go to the edges to begin with, as in like we did round here. I'm going to leave it to begin with and then have a look once I've finished the petal. So I'm going to look here, so again here. Yep, so this bit is under here is how I'm visualizing it. Yep, that's coming into here. So that's why I've got that shadow coming in here, and then I'm going to go around here. Alright, now I'm going to think about going around the edges here. As you're doing this and you're giving every single petal of your flower, your image, attention, so that each one has its own character, as you would find in nature, right? Nothing's the same even within the same plant. Okay, what I found myself naturally doing as well as I'm speaking to you is that I'm bringing this bit up a bit more higher than just the edge, which is fine. And if I did want to bring it back, I would use the 4. Okay. I'm going to go all the way around and I'm going to stop here, but I'm not going to go to the edges just yet, because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I may be okay with it just like so. Yep, so I'm bringing it over. I'm going to go in with my number 4 now and just have another look. I'm going to start by softening the edges, starting from this side and around. Yeah, notice that I'm only going right from the edge. If I go down to here, that's when I start removing. I'm pulling the colour so much to the middle that it starts to disappear or become much lighter. And so I'm really having a good look at the areas I want to soften or make lighter. So it's the same. So for example here, if I go down more, I'm actually pulling more of the colour. I find by going like this, it depends on what you're doing, or you might just want to go down. It really depends on what you're doing at that moment and the effect that you're after. Around here. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that, and this is what I'm saying about here. It might be okay just to leave it like that. I'm going to leave it like that anyway, and can come back and have a look at it once we've completed the flower. So we're nearly there. We've got these two petals left, so let's start off with this one. Look at this one, I might do a little bit more little circles. I'm just going to go around the edges first on this petal, just about up to here I think, and now I'm going to colour it in. Okay, I'm still going all the way down. You see, I'm just doing the edges first and then going in and doing the middle. Ah, it's so relaxing doing this. Okay, now I'm going to go over here as well. Around. Like so. I'm going to pick up my number 3 and I'm going to start thinking about the shade, those shadows. I'm looking at the petal first and I can see there's some movement, sort of like a twist there. So I want to get that twist first. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this part, so I'm just going to focus on here first. So actually let me go all the way around first. Let's go all the way around here, but then I do want to focus back on this side. So let's do all of here, which is going to be under these 2 petals, and let's do that first. Okay, just stopping, having a look, and so having another look. I do prefer to do a little bit and have a look, so I can see if I still want to continue doing something. So like this, I feel I want to go this way around. Okay, it's things like that. Okay, so now what I want to do is to look at how I'm going to make this look so that it's twisted over there. So I'm going to focus on this area and I'm going to do the same here as we've been doing. I'm just going to bring the colour, I'm going to start from here and bring the colour around like this, because the other thing I'm looking at is the direction. As I was saying about keeping the direction of your pen, the nib. I think for this one I think the curl going this way. There. And before I go continue, I am going to pick up the 4 and I'm just going to blend that in, just so that I've focused on getting that curve in first. And once I'm there, I'm just going to use, I'm there with the 4 ready, so I'm just going to go across and just soften these edges again. Okay. And now I'm looking at this part now, so I'm going to pick up my number 3 and start thinking about the shading again. I'm going to start down here, just because I'm still not sure what I want to do over there, but I do know I want that bit to go up and curl, I think along here as well. And I'll do it straight up like this. So it really, I hope you can see that on yours. We've gone this way with the strokes and we're going straight up, almost like a curl to the side, but straight up. And that's already giving that curve look. Again, I'm going to go up to here and stop. And then soften the edges and then have another look. So I'm going to go in with the 3, sorry, with the 4, and I'm just going to soften these edges. So, okay, I'm quite happy with that. So I just need to look at this. I'm going to join this rather than it looking over. Let me try this first. Let's have a look. I'm going to go in the edge like this, just small. I just want to have a look, and what I'm looking at is this part here. Is there sort of like a little div, a little fold there? So I do have my 3 in my hand, so I am going to bring this part up higher, just in this little bit here. Okay, so I'm just doing a bit more because I don't want my very dark colour to be there. I think just a gentle 3. You see I'm doing a triangle now. That's what I'm seeing. I just want to soften that bit of the triangle, and the way I've done it now, I can see that this is now over this. Can you see how, as we're going along, starting to make decisions as we see. So I'm going to pick up the 4 and we're on our last petal, and we're going to just colour this whole petal in with number 4. And take your time. I know it's easy once you get onto the last bit, in our case the last petal, and you think, oh yeah, great, and just go through it quite quickly. Just remember to continue taking your time. go around, and you see I'm sort of sweeping the edge in. And remember, do use a rough piece of paper, or card is better, to get round the edges. You see I'm just putting it to the tip and I'm pulling it outwards. Okay. And so go around here. Around here. And can you see I've started one end and I've changed to the other. Again, it doesn't matter. Now what I'm going to do is to pick up the 3, and as I'm doing that I'm going to look again at the folds. I can see that there's a fold here, and like this one we want it to have sort of a movement and some sort of folds in there. So I'm going to start off first by looking at what needs to go underneath and where there may be some movement that I want to show on the petal. So I'm going to do along here to start with. I have my number 3 in my hand. And I'm just going to go and I'm just pulling, just flicking towards me. Remember, turn the image however fits for you and you find easier. And I'm going to stop here, because as you can see I can already see there's a V there, and this is higher underneath and it goes down and around, so I want to make sure that I keep that. So I'm just bringing out that V a little bit more, almost like what we've been doing down here, and leave it like so. And I'm going to keep going around here. Again, I'm not sure how much I want this to come up, but I know I don't want to go all the way, because otherwise it wouldn't, for me personally, it wouldn't feel right. But you see how you want yours when you're doing, as you're looking at it in front of you. So you can see I'm still continuing to do the strokes around here, creating the shade. And I hope you can start to see already the movements. Right, so I'm going to keep that down like here. So now I'm just having a quick look. Yeah. Alright. So now what I want to do is I will go in with the 4. So I just want to spend a little bit more time checking on these areas. I'm going to go around the sides, the edge here. Can you see that I'm going right from the edge and I'm pulling forward towards me. And I'm going all the way around, just pulling it from the very edge with the tip of my nib, and I'm pulling it through. Okay, like so. So now I'm going to swap over my 4 for number 3, and I'm going to go around the outside, thinking the same way as we did there. So with my number 3, I'm looking at here, it looks like there's a little curve here. So I'm going to go in, do the little edges there first, and have a look. And then I'm going to go like this. I'm going to stop because I think I might want this to look going up a bit, so I'm going to stop and go around here and stop, have a look. I might go in here, miss out this bit, go in here. I might change my mind and go back in there, but just for now I'm looking at where I want the movement to be. So this sort of sticks out a bit and that goes in, so I'm just going to put it here. Remember, you're looking at your rows, so the same sort of thought process if you're picking to colour in a different rows than we are here. But it's the same thought process. So I'm seeing the curve out like I am there, so I'm just going to go a little bit into here and like that, because I feel I want to show that this is a shadow of here. So I'm just going to stick on one side like here, do the same here. I'm doing it across, so we'll see again, I see this sticking out, so I'm going to do it all the way to the end now. Alright, so I'm going to leave it like this. So I'm going to change over now to my 4, and I'm just going to soften the edges. I'm just giving a little flick, a little look, see. Okay. Cool, there's our rows. So now what we are going to do is to look at the areas that where we want to give more depth to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look first at my image, and I'm going to start with the places that I feel are obvious, rather than keep going around and starting point. I'm just going to look at the rows and think, where do I want to start, because it looks the most obvious to me. So around here, around under here, and I'm looking, there's space here. But what I am going to do is I'm going to start by doing the outside here. Okay, and I'm going to show you as we go along that you don't need to actually complete all the way around to show that there's depth there. But we'll have a look as we're going. So I've got the 214, and I'm going to start by just giving small little flicks like this down to the end here. Okay, you can see that I'm just putting it up like this. I'm going to get the 5 now, and I'm going to soften it by going over it. This time we are going to go over it and pull the color like so. So I'm just doing light strokes still. By putting the light color over the darker color in this way, is that we're softening the deep shadow. And the 5, like we was doing before, we were using the number 4, weren't we, to pull out the 3, the shadow. The number 5 in this case is going to do exactly the same thing. So as you can see, it's dark in there, but it's not too harsh. I'm going to pick up my 241 again. Yep, 241, and I'm going to go and look, maybe not there, I'm going to put some down here. So I'm going to again do the same thing, just small little flicks. Yeah, try not to do them too big, but again, if you have, doesn't matter. I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to go in with my number 5, and I'm going to soften it. And can you see I'm still making sure that I keep in the same area and direction, and also I am using the sort of painting over the colouring over the top of the 241. Yeah, and that will soften it. It's pulling the colour out, but it's actually softening it up at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to have another look again at where I think I want it to be dark. I'm going to be looking now at these areas here, these two first. So I'm thinking that here some depth, so let me just have a look here first. So I'm going to put just a little amount in here, like that, and then I'm going to get the number 5 and go over the top of it to not just pull it out, but to soften the shade. And remember, wherever you put this colour down, the 241, it's really going to create the depth, as you can see. So be mindful of when you are doing this, that you don't need to do it on every single area, just the areas that you feel that you want to pull out a bit more. So I'm looking at here, and I want to put in some dark here, some deep shade here, so that this looks more elevated. So I'm going to go in here like this. I'm going to just start there, get my number 5, go over it. See, I'm just pulling this out. And as you're doing it now, you can see more of that dip there and the curl. So this is why I say just be mindful, you don't want to go all the way around, just the areas where you feel you want to really pull it out or shape or give it more depth that it's going under. Like around here is the first thing that came to my mind, to my eyes. So I'm just going to do this little bit here to start off with, that little gap. I'm going to take the 5, go over it to soften it. Like so. You don't want to do it too much, because otherwise you're going to be removing all of the colour. So I'm happy with that. Just going to have another look at my flower. Maybe in here, the same thing like here. I want to give it that depth. And look, so I've got the 214 in my hand. I've just laid it down. I'm going to get my 5 and go over it to soften it. Okay, so let's have another look. Are there any other spaces or places that we want to do? Maybe around here. Again, I'm not going to do it everywhere. I feel that maybe here. So to start off with, I'm literally just going to put a little amount like this of the 214. I'm taking the 5 and I'm going to go over it to soften it. And take a look. Okay, I think I might want to add a little bit here. Because I really want to put it where I feel that it's going to give the petals a bit more movement and depth. Yeah, so that's good. Where else do I want to go? I think I'm going to try here. Let's have a look. Just a little bit in here. Go in. That was with the 241, and I'm going to use the 5 to go over it. just to soften it up a bit. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look somewhere else, maybe around here, but again, to be careful, last thing I want to do is to really put in a lot of the dark, so I'm going to do it little by little. I'm going to start from down here, just do a few little movements like this, take my 5 and go over it, soften it, stop and have a look. Instead, I find that's okay for me. I'm going to look again. Is there anywhere else? Possibly around here, I think. So I'm only going to do that spot there and that spot there. I'm going to take my 5 and go over it. And as you can see, I'm actually pulling the colour, joining those two together. Alright, let's have a look. Where else? Possibly here. I'm going to add again just a little bit, like so. Get my 5 and go over it. Pull it out and just soften it. Remember not to do too much or it will come out. I think a bit here again. And I'm only going to put it in that space. I'm going to get the 5 and go over it. Go over my 2, 4, 1. Like so. Alright, so let's have a look. Let's have a look on this side now, so we can see about any balance. So maybe in here, I can see something here maybe. Just a little bit again. Get my 5 and go over it. So I'm always putting down my 2, 4, 1 first. And I'm going to look at it again. I think around here definitely needs some attention. I'm going to start from the outside and come in still with this. So I can see a gap here. And a little stroke. Go over it with my 5. There. Looking at down here. Excuse me. I'm looking down here. And again, I'm only going to put a little bit in that corner. I'm going to take my number 5 and just go over it to soften it. Okay, I'm just going to have a look anywhere else, possibly in here. Just a little stroke there, and I'm going to go over with my 5. You see, I'm just pulling it out and encouraging it to go round. Okay, because I just want to soften around the edges again. I'm still using the 5. If I go in any of the lighter pens, I would actually be lighting it up, making it too light. Yeah, I want the shadow to be deep. I'm just looking out around here, possibly, maybe in this little corner. Here's a little dab. I'm taking my 5 again to go over it. Have a look at your flower and decide where you want to put some dark, deeper shades. Because you can see as we're going along, you don't necessarily have to do the whole thing, just areas. So let's have a look. Where else? Maybe here, just a touch here. And use my 5. Let me have a look. I'm thinking in here. Again, just the tiniest amount, and I'm going to use the 5 just to pull it out a bit. I'm going to keep looking, possibly in there, this little bit here. So you can see some places I'm only just putting a dot, and I'm using the 5 to spread it. so it controls it a bit more. It gives me an opportunity to add more of the dark if I need to. In our case, more of the 241. I'm looking around here, I think just a little dot there. Take my 5 and go over it, stretch it out a bit and soften it. And now I want to start looking more into the middle. Again, not because it's all in the dark bit that all of it needs to be deep. Still use the 241 or your darkest color to still create that shade. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for that depth. I'm looking in here. Just going to put a few dots in there and go over it with my 5. Just spread it and open it up a little bit. And I'm just looking in the middle here as well. I'm just going to put a bit here and use my 5 to do the work. You see what I've been doing is I'm just curving it around. Alright, and I'm going to do this bit here, and you can see you can sit here for a little while now and have a look at the areas where you want to add a bit more shade. And as I said, the trick is that not everywhere needs to have that deep colour. Just think of the little touches here and there that will make a difference. Just thinking down here, as you can see, you can be here for a little while. And the other place I've noticed is that I want to do something there. Okay, so I will put a little bit of the 241 in this corner, just like this. And I'm going to take the 5 and go over it. It's because I want it to give it that fold, like we have done here. And stretch it out. The other thing that you can do is you can do the pickup just like we did earlier. I'm holding down my dark color, so my 241 in this case, and I'm going to take the 5. Oops, it's moving around under my hand. And I'm going to take the 5 and pick, so nib to nib, so I'm going to pick up some of that color just a little bit. I haven't put it hard on it, just picking up a little bit and looking at where. So here, remember we wanted that shape to look a bit more, but by picking up the dark color like this, makes it even more subtle. Remember, it's a rose. You really want the colors to be subtle. So where else? Here. Anywhere where we were trying to get the folds, so around here as well. So only in those areas. Like this. Just thinking in there. And around these two. And in this corner here. It's better to pick up a little bit at a time rather than trying to pick it up all together. Just a little bit at a time, like we've just done so. And I am going to use the 5 as we've been doing it before, just to spread it out a bit more, because the 5 itself will create an even more deeper look. Okay, can you see it's starting to have that fold? Let's do the same up here. I've just turned it a little bit so I can see a bit better this area here. Yeah, so you can see what I'm doing is I'm looking at the areas where I really want to give that exaggeration of curves and depth and movement. Where else we've done here? How about here? Like so. Anywhere else? Way up here. You see. Right, I'm going to stop there because I just want to, for the last bit, let me have a look across my table. Let's have a look. So I'm just having a look now. So you've seen me having a check to see which one. So I'm taking my scrap piece of paper and I'm just having a look. Yes, I think this will do. So you want something that's light. Ooh, so I use this for the demonstration. I'm going to create a border around the flower. So when you do this, please wait for it to dry more, and then what you do is you go round the edges, because doing it this way, you will see that I'm going to have a bit of the red. I'm more like to have some red in my, you can see, in my colour. So you can see I am, rather than going all the way around, I am just doing a little bit and towards me. You can do it the other way if you like, but I find by doing it this way I can actually see where it's going. So again, I'm just going to go around and just add this around the edges. Okay, I am turning it around. I know I said I wouldn't, but it's easier for this, and we are coming to the close anyway. This is just an extra that I'm showing you that really makes your image pop. And remember, you can cut these out, put it onto a card, you can add glitter to them. This is just your base, and then you can add any other extra bits that you like. Again, I am rushing this last bit because it is just doing around the edge, and we've been here a little while now. Just doing this bit quickly. He said you take your time and please wait for it to totally dry before you do this part. Okay, I'm nearly around, nearly done. So the color number, actually, if you're interested, is 210GG. That's the one that I've picked up to do this. Alright, so there's our flower. As I said, let me just quickly do this so that at least you've got a snapshot of what it is. This is the colour that I used. Let's get a pen. Let's hope that I've picked one that's working. You know what it's like, you pick the first one you pick doesn't work, so fingers crossed. So let me just have a quick look again. Yeah, so it's 210. Yay. And it's G, G. Okay, so now you've got all the colours there in a snapshot, so at least you can see or pick your own colours that's close to that or your own. The key thing to remember when you're picking the colours, just remind you again, is that you are thinking for this one the lighter shade and the darker shade. And what we've done today is that we used these two to do the main colour, the light colour of the flower, and then we used the 3 to give us an idea of where we want the shading and the shadows to be. Once we finished it all, we then used the 241 down first and a 5 over it to just bring out areas of our flower where we want it to be even deeper in colour. And remember, we only used it in certain areas, we didn't use it all the way around. And then for this I used the 210GG. You can use a grey, which would be good, probably even better. I just picked one quickly from the side there. I would have spent more time looking, but it looks fine. It looks okay, doesn't it? Alright, so thank you for your time and sitting with me and colouring, and hopefully see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.